Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. So Bitcoin has hit a new all-time high of 111,000. A bit over that. It almost hit 112. I think it might have. I wasn't checking. But 100 and let's call it 112. 112,000 US dollars. Congratulations to the 4 people who actually listened to me since I first started yelling about Bitcoin at 25,000. You're doing good. And for those who haven't listened, at some point you're going to need Bitcoin. It's not an if, it's a when. Everything is going to be sucked into Bitcoin. It is in the process of replacing the current system. So it's not an if, it's a when, and it's up to you. You can either choose when you buy it, or you just wait until it's forced upon you and then you regret it. Don't worry about the volatility. Don't worry about the ups and downs. It means nothing. That's just like the fucking death rattle of the current system. If the current system behaves in a way that is economically responsible, then Bitcoin goes down. But what happens is the system begins to break. So they have to stop being responsible, and then they begin spending and printing again. I just need to repeat all this stuff again because sometimes it just takes a couple of times for people to get it. And I feel like every now and then someone new jumps on board and gets it. So I'm gonna persist. Not every day, but when it hits all-time highs, when it's on a run, I'll go for it. So in this system, in this economic system we live in, the debt-based system, as soon as you stop printing money, everything collapses. Then the government is forced. They might not want to. They don't want to. Even this Trump government are trying to be like fiscally responsible to some degree. But they're running into the sheer fact that the system will collapse if they are responsible. It's just part of the design of the system. It needs to continuously be expanded. Otherwise, it falls apart. So if countries stop spending money, stop printing money, raise taxes, become economically frugal, start paying down the debt, then Bitcoin's going to go down. It's going to go down a lot. But before Bitcoin gets anywhere near, like, it wouldn't even go down fucking like 50, 60, 70% from here before the entire system collapses. The entire monetary system grinds to a halt because you need continuous input. Anyway, that's not happening. Doge saved like $100 million. The US government, year on year, are spending more than they did last year. When you print money, that excess money usually goes into asset prices. Because generally the people who get that money first are the rich people. So the rich people scurry that money away into assets like houses. So houses go up. Bitcoin, gold, all this sort of stuff. Tangible assets. So it doesn't show up as much immediately in prices. The reason you got that huge tick up in inflation, like consumer inflation, like the price of everything, was because of the stimmy checks. You handed out money directly to the public and the public spent it on goods. And so everything went up, and that money is still finding its way through the system, back out of the system and into the assets. It all goes into the assets. So now I don't know exactly what's going to happen right now because there's some big shit going on in Japan. So Japan just had 2 failed auctions, bond auctions, which is basically what I was talking about, treasuries, US treasury bonds the other day. Every country does them. Most countries don't sell many because they're not worthy, but the second biggest market for treasury bonds behind the US is Japan. And Japan just had 2 failed auctions where the Bank of Japan pretty much bought most of them. Now, the Bank of Japan, which is just the Federal Reserve, owns 52% of the outstanding treasury bonds of the Japanese government. So basically, the only thing funding Japan is money printing, which is gonna blow up pretty soon. The only reason why Japan will get through maybe like, I don't know what type of period they'll get through, is because they have $1 trillion of US treasury bonds, so they can protect their economy for a little while by selling these bonds, US bonds. Now, the US are not going to want them to do that because the US are trying to get their interest rate down, and if the Japanese are selling US treasury bonds at the same time the US are selling treasury bonds, then the interest rate on those bonds goes up and the US needs to refinance their giant debt this year. I think 9 or 10 trillion of it needs to be refinanced. That's why they're trying to get their debt down, or the interest rate down, excuse me. So that's playing out right now. So everyone's calling for Bitcoin to go to 150 at the moment, but I have a funny feeling that this Japanese fucking bond issue might blow up in the not too distant future, which will cause a fucking economic emergency worldwide. It will be a major, major crash. Greece almost brought down the entire world economic system, and that is like a nothing country. Japan is like top 3. The world's fucked if they collapse. Anyway, if there is a crash, the markets will dive, Bitcoin will dive, gold will dive, everything will dive momentarily for like, I don't know, a month. It will seem dive for about 6 weeks. And then every single government in the world will print more money than has ever been printed in the history of humanity. And shit is going to go absolutely fucking ballistic. And then after that, it's sort of reached a point where even if they print next time, it's not going to do anything. It's just going to hyperinflate. So you need to get out of the currencies. All that fucking printing that's going to happen very soon, probably within the next 6 months or something, or a year. I don't know. Timelines are impossible to predict, but outcomes over a certain period of time, over a long time horizon, are not that difficult to predict if you understand the system. And you need to understand, if they don't print, everything collapses. Eventually, everything collapses if they do print, but just slower. So when they do print in the not too distant future, all that money is going directly into assets. The big money, the smart money, know what's going on. They know that this could be the last print ever. And so they are going to be fucking smashing it into gold, into Bitcoin, into housing, into art. Everything's going to go ballistic. And then those who have not put their money into assets are going to be stuck with a hyperinflated currency eventually. Now, the only way to protect yourself from this, and also not just this, all the uncertainty in the world, is to buy some Bitcoin, put it on cold storage, and forget about it. Go on with your day. At least you have that. At least you're protected by that. If you're too scared to go the Bitcoin route, then go gold. Buy some gold. I don't know how to verify gold. I don't know who can verify gold. I know in an emergency, if you rocked up with a kilo bar of gold somewhere, if you rocked up to me with the kilo bar of gold and said, can I trade you this for some money? I would just pull out my gun and take the gold. That's probably what I'd do. And I don't know how fast you can run with 5 kilos of gold. But Bitcoin, you can run pretty fast, and you can also run borders, go across borders with wealth as well, if needed. Anyway, that is just another public service announcement. It's not for me, it's for you. You might have a drop down in Bitcoin in the not too distant future. It could go back under 100 down to like 80 or something. There's a guy on good authority calling it 84,000. If it gets back down there, buy it. You have to. It's an imperative. It's never too late to buy Bitcoin. It just, like when you buy it, depends on how much you'll end up with. Anyway, I hope that got through to someone, anyone. That'll do for today, and I'll see you the fuck later.